Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, we're going to talk a massive Ring of Honor update, including cancelled plans for former WWE stars.
Big E almost died getting injured on SmackDown recently.
We have a backstage update on Bianca Belair's quote-unquote injury.
And a released WWE wrestler is open to a return. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Big Ring of Honor update coming to you from Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful Select.
No crap, just Sapp. He said it himself, Andy.
He did the thing, he endorsed it. That's what that was. Shoutouts to Sean, that was a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And it only cost me $600.
Ring of Honor, going to the Ukraine, so it was a good cause, for sure.
Exactly.
Ring of Honor returns from its 4-month hiatus with Supercard of Honor on the 1st of April. What's on deck for that? Well, we got Jonathan Gresham versus Bandido for the world title. We got Alex Zane versus Swerve Strickland. We got Jay Lethal versus Lee Moriarty, and we've also got the Briscoes versus FTR for the Ring of Honor tag team titles.
Get in.
That's a particularly interesting one given the circumstances.
We them more.
Fightful Select. That's a pretty good impression. Fightful Select came through with an update. Just on general Ring of Honor stuff last night, obviously ahead of Supercard of Honor, saying that the Briscoes versus FTR took some work. It took some work to put together. So obviously Ring of Honor filmed an angle between the two teams at Final Battle in December, and at that point, obviously they're looking to lead to something.
Yeah.
But it didn't immediately come together, and the ball didn't really start rolling until January. Of course, Warner Media Chiefs effectively blocking AEW from signing the Briscoes owing to Jay's past comments. But it's like another obstacle, really, in the whole deal, isn't it? Like, if the match can't happen in Ring of Honor, in AEW, well, where the hell is it going to happen? Well, Tony Khan now owns Ring of Honor, and the match has been put together. The putting the bout together was described as quite the process, and it took a lot of hard work after initially looking really simple. Now, we got some more stuff here on personnel. Long-serving Ring of Honor booker Hunter Delirious Johnston, he is still in place. However, he will not be committed to the group after Supercard of Honor. There's a bunch of stuff regarding people potentially coming back as well. Ring of Honor alumni who had hoped to return to the company before the takeover have now not had contact with management. That doesn't necessarily mean that they definitely won't be back. The situation can obviously change, but as of right now, some of them don't feel like they will be brought back. And on top of this, it sounds like the takeover has resulted in some changes for Supercard of Honor as well. One of these is that former WWE wrestlers Karrion Killer Kross now, of course, and Scarlett, they were set for the event and they'd spoken with Delirious about it, but now they haven't heard anything from management. So, sounds very much like that's not something that's happening anymore, although obviously, things change. It's pro wrestling. Things change all the blooming time. Tony Khan tweeted about Supercard of Honor on Tuesday, just saying he's going to have more announcement up his sleeve, including a bunch of stuff that he's not going to announce. So it's shaping up to be a pretty interesting event, just from the standpoint of what on earth a Tony Khan owned Ring of Honor is going to look like. The lineup already looks really cool. I'm going to be watching this eagerly to get a gauge of how Ring of Honor is going to pan out. More than
exactly. It's just sort of fascinating developments. It's like you say, some people conspicuous by their absence, let's say, on the card. And like you say, getting some of these matches together. I mean, Bandido versus Jonathan Gresham. I know you're very excited about that. FTR versus the Briscoes. Oh, yes, please. Yeah. And like you say, lots more stuff to come. It's just so up in the air right now, like you say, with the future of Ring of Honor. I mean, it's a lot more certain than it was, but also it may have drastically changed from whatever it was going to be before TK bought the company.
Yeah, for sure. Talk of a developmental for AEW. But even if they go down that route, there's still like loads of interesting things that they can do with people like Jay Lethal, who are obviously very tenured in Ring of Honor. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this shapes up. I don't think it's necessarily going to be something that transforms the shape of the industry or anything like that, but it's shaping up to be pretty fun so far, so jump on the bandwagon.
And when is Supercard of Honor again, Andy?
It's on the 1st of April,
which is also a part of
WrestleMania weekend.
Speaking of which, if you want some beers in time for WrestleMania weekend, why not check out our friends at Top Rope Brewing. We've got a whole brilliant WrestleMania package. I misspoke yesterday. I said it's 10 beers. It's bloody 12 beers, Andy.
Wow.
12 beers, including our very own beer, Clickbait Thumbnail, the one with all the yellow arrows on it that Sidgwick brilliantly named. You can go and order them now, and they will be with you in time for WrestleMania. But unfortunately, sorry everyone, only if you're in Europe. Again, apologies to our American viewers here. But you can order it now, topropebrewing.com, including our 5.1% YPA. And if you enter the code Here's Why at checkout, then you can get free shipping as well. They're great beers, aren't they, Andy?
Sensational beers. And hey, look, we literally named it Clickbait Thumbnail. What more do you want from us?
Yes, exactly. Very much looking forward to WrestleMania weekend with those beers. They will be with you in time for WrestleMania if you order them right now. topropebrewing.com. And if you haven't done so already, if you're heading to WrestleMania, make sure you get your WrestleCon tickets too, where just everyone's there that you can just stumble around and bump into legends, your favorite wrestlers, people who are probably wrestling over WrestleMania weekend. WrestleCon.com if you want to get tickets to that. Right, this is going to be a hard shift. Let's talk a little bit more about Big E's horror injury. We all knew about the fractured vertebrae, of course, C1 and C6.
That's right.
In his neck, which are incredibly dangerous injuries to suffer, as we have reported. And a further development from the legend that is Big E on Twitter yesterday, I'll be honest, sent a shiver down my spine. It was already sort of worrying when it was suggested, let's say, how dangerous or how close he came to real serious injury. I mean, a broken neck's pretty bloody serious anyway, but still. Yesterday he tweeted, "Had my first doctor's appointment and learning, because of the C1 fracture, I narrowly escaped a stroke, paralysis, or death is very sobering. Life feels even more precious and valuable now." Now, Big E strikes me as someone who appreciates life and all the greatness it has and really does live his life to the fullest. But honestly, it's one of those things where you think, oh my God, we almost lost him. And I know I'm biased. I know he's a friend of the channel, but he's just such a personality. And I think I saw Sami Zayn tweeting him back something lovely about saying how much it really makes him appreciate the time he spent or is spending with them right now. I know I keep saying this, especially around the Scott Hall news recently with Kevin Nash and stuff, but do take a moment to just really appreciate your life, because as Big E has exemplified there, it only takes a second.
Yeah, it's just been a really horrible scenario to watch unfold. I mean, the slight positive that you can take from it is that the injury isn't as serious as it potentially could have been, right? With the circumstances that Big E has outlined there. But yeah, I'll just echo what I've said the past few days. Best wishes to him in his recovery. One of the nice guys in the sport, universally beloved. And it's just a terrible thing that's unfolded across the board, and nothing but the best for him.
Exactly. Get well soon, mate. And we'll keep you updated on developments as and when we can. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed for him returning to the ring eventually, but that's a way off yet.
Absolutely. We're going to move over and talk about Bianca Belair. This week's episode of Raw, Becky Lynch cutting a promo suggesting maybe that Bianca Belair's not going to make it to WrestleMania.
I'm really nervous.
Bianca Belair's going to make it to WrestleMania.
Oh, thank God.
The injury, that's why I said quote unquote in the intro, or I said it weirdly, it's a work. It is part of the storyline. It's something, it's pro wrestling. Sometimes we do these things.
Sometimes a lot of things will work.
It happens. Yes, indeed. It happens. But yes, PW Insider's Mike Johnson confirming that it's 100% storyline. Bianca's not injured. It's something that they have done to heighten the drama of the feud with Becky Lynch. They're going to wrestle at WrestleMania 38, night 1, 2nd of April.
Match of the night. I'm already calling it.
Match of the day, Gary Lineker. You know, I had kind of second thoughts about putting this in the video today, because I think watching the Raw promo, most would assume that this would be the case. However, after consulting with my very good friend Barry from EastEnders,
we're gonna do it anyway.
That's exactly what he said. So here we are. Anyway, yes, Bianca Belair's fine. Just to clear that up if you hadn't figured it out already.
So she's not suffering as seriously as we thought from throat trauma. Yes. Like they kept banging on about, and they kept using medical terms, but it's just better to call it throat trauma, basically. Fantastic news. Like I said, I think it's going to be one of the best matches on the night and across WrestleMania weekend, in my opinion. I know they've done it before, but like they're allowed to do all the stuff that they had to hold back on. It's like the handbrake's been taken off, basically. Becky's going to get a stomach whipped again by Bianca Belair's hair, and she's going to do some mad feat of strength. I can't wait. And I do think this is added to it. And I tell you what, if you'd have told me the night after the Royal Rumble we're getting Charlotte versus Ronda and Becky versus Bianca, I would have not have been as hyped as I am right now. I really think they've done well turning it around, especially with the Ronda Charlotte thing, because I was like, right, do her and Becky, and they were like, no, we'll do that next year. And they've, I mean, it's an obvious thing to do. It's very easy to dislike heel Charlotte Flair and cheer for Ronda Rousey, but we're all a bit like, after that Raw promo that she got immediately after the Royal Rumble. But I think they've turned that around, and they've got me invested and got me excited for Becky versus Bianca, which is a hell of an achievement considering how many times they've already done it.
Yes.
Exactly. Right, let's talk a little bit about a former WWE released wrestler, take your bloody pick, who is open to a return. B-Fab, Brandy B-Fab, Brianna B-Fab Brandy even, popped up on the Angle podcast, not the one you're thinking of, chatting to Joey Carney, talking about her WWE release and a possible return to the promotion. And she said, I'd be open to go back. For me, business. It is what it is. There is nothing you can do about big companies and decisions that they make. There is no reason to have any ill feelings. You just have to operate and do your thing as a business as well. I would go back. She was asked about, other opportunities. She hasn't done anything inside of wrestling since leaving WWE, but she would be open to that.
She's back. They reunited on the Indies.
There we go.
Week. They are, as they're going by the Hitmakers now.
Okay.
But yes, B-Fab was there, Brianna Brandy, AJ Francis, the former Top Dollar, we got Shanti the Adonis, who's now Tahuti Miles, I think that's his real name.
Yeah.
Swerve was there as well, so it was cool. There was like a little clip.
It was the dumbest thing they did, or one of the dumbest things they did, breaking up that group and releasing them. Yeah. Because they were really just hitting their stride in NXT, and then they got moved up to the main roster, and we all went, oh, that's a bit quick, but okay, that's exciting. And then, boom, B-Fab was gone, as was Swerve. Astonishing, as well as Shanti the Adonis, who's fantastic, and Top Dollar. So I'm amazed that they did that, but nice to hear she'd be open to coming back, because she said something about it, didn't she?
Yeah, it was curtains for them as soon as they hit the main roster, and where they were doing those dopey segments, and it was like, the people writing this have absolutely no idea why this group got over in NXT. They were awesome in NXT, and then as soon as they were scripted by the dolts on the main roster, they came off lame. That's no coincidence.
Yes.
I like all four members of the group. I was a big Hit Row guy last year, and going by Brianna's words here, she strikes me as someone who's going to do absolutely fine, regardless of whether it's inside wrestling or not. Very measured take. Business is business, not taking it personally. She's going to be on the GCW for the Culture show over WrestleMania weekend. Hitmakers are going to be there. AJ Francis and Tahuti Miles have been confirmed as part of that. I can't remember who they're wrestling, but I remember seeing the graphic and thinking, hey, that could be really good. So I'm looking forward to it.
Keep an eye out for that, and we'll keep you updated on any developments with bloody all the wrestlers WWE release, because there's
like 100 of them, so
many to keep up with. Anyway, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Of course, you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from KR21, who says, do we see Solo Sikoa show up on the main roster sometime between WrestleMania and SummerSlam? Solo Sikoa, if you don't know, by the way, wrestles on NXT. And he's like, they're like, oh, Usos. And he's like, no, it's Solo Sikoa for now. And KR21 continues, he would be a great addition to the bloodline, as they would add fresh blood to the storyline, a way to allow all three Usos to wrestle together. I think they're doing great stuff with Sikoa on NXT, I've got to say.
He's been an indie wrestler for ages and ages. Not necessarily on the absolute biggest shows of all, but like in and around the Las Vegas scene in particular, in companies like FSW. So yeah, I mean, he certainly doesn't have... He's a good wrestler, is what I'm trying to say. He doesn't have loads of flaws that he needs to iron out in developmental. So, hey, if you've got anyone on that roster at the moment who's main roster ready in NXT, it's him. So, yeah, why the hell not? Well, he doesn't have to fanny around on this show with, like, Home Alone games and all of that nonsense. He's main roster ready for sure, and ready-made storyline with his brothers, obviously. So.
He's got the ladder match, of course, before that to stand and deliver.
He's quite a big guy as well.
He's a big lad, and he's not afraid to step up to people like Gunther, for example, as he did recently. And I like that as maybe the Usos are in trouble in a tag team title match, and Roman's got his feet up backstage, and you do I don't know why this is popped in my mind. Something akin to when they brought in Braun Strowman of like, all right, we can deal with you two. Who's this git?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, I think it could be a great addition, and I would not be surprised in that time frame that you mentioned there, Kevin, between WrestleMania and SummerSlam, that they would. I think there's a few people that could easily step up from NXT 2.0 now. I mean, Braun Breaker we've mentioned. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, get them on the main roster as soon as possible for me. And of course, Cameron Grimes, baby, to the moon.
As soon as Vince McMahon sees how entertaining Cameron Grimes is, he is cooked.
Yes.
So keep him in NXT
I'm slightly
forever.
scared, yeah, fair point. If you want to get a question asked on the news, Mark Solid has got the cheat code. He sent me a video of himself
A dog, yes.
hoovering his dog.
Hoovering his dog.
Hoovering his dog, in a nice way, not weird. Thanks to Mark, and first of all, good boy. Mark writes, Morning Legends, thoughts on when John Silver will get the push? I'd like to see Miro come back and dominate, just maybe after a year. Have Silver beat him for the TNT title and give him that long road on TV. Thoughts?
Interesting. I don't know if John Silver is somebody they're necessarily going to push as a solo act. Maybe. I mean, the Johnny Hungy stuff is still really over.
Yeah.
And like those bursts he has, like Cesaro-esque, where he goes pop, 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 move, 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 blast, blast, blast. I am awesome. I'm John Silver. I love that stuff. I don't necessarily know he's someone they're going to push long term as a singles act. I think maybe they could do it, but for now I think they see him as more of a tag team guy, and they're number one in the rankings at the moment as well. So
Yeah, also
he's in a good place.
Love the suggestion. He's my pick to come back and take the TNT title off Scorpio Sky Miro.
Yeah.
I just love Scorpio Sky winning a few tag team title matches, getting a bit carried away because of the American top team shenanigans that keep him champion, let's say, and then surprise, surprise, Miro's back and you're buggered, basically.
Yeah, you're all dead.
But yes, we love John Silver here. We'd like to see him get a push, but I agree for the time being. I think it's going to be a tag team centric thing.
I agree.
Final question today comes from Eddie Zamhari. Love this question. Eddie writes, "Hey Legend and King of the Mic."
Oh, here he goes. Eddie, why'd you do this? Put that in slow motion or something like that.
If you could do a wrestling entrance using a non-wrestling song, what would it be and why?
Oh, okay. If I could do... I misunderstood the question when we were going over them before the video. I'll just tell you my idea anyway.
Okay, I love this.
Who's the one man in pro wrestling you can't figure out what's going on in his head? It's Cody Rhodes. Right?
I was going to say Vince
Oh,
McMahon.
what's in your head? Cody, Cody.
Yes.
There you go. Tremendous. For me, it would be, do you really want to hurt me? Because why would you hurt this fish?
Yes. That's very good. That's getting you ahead of your opponent as well.
Easy.
I have a confession to make.
Go for it.
A friend of mine in their flat has this weird sort of setup where when you walk into the lounge, there is lights all around the door frame. Not like fairy lights, like built into it. So I may have got drunk at a house party and insisted that everyone have their own wrestling entrance with these lights. And yeah, I did Kanye West all of the lights because it's an absolute banger. And let's be honest, you can literally do I put on his dressing gown with a hood on it and did the AJ Styles.
Oh.
So I've answered
But
your
if you
question
want
there.
video footage of that, it's £100.
Honestly, now that we can hopefully hang out a little bit more, I'll be doing that a lot more often. So there'll be footage of it online.
I guess an
relatively soon.
everyday occurrance.
Yeah, pretty much.
Actually, our boss was talking about getting entrance music in the office.
We're getting
this
indoor
morning.
pyro.
Yeah.
I'm going to do
Crazy
the
idea.
Batista every morning walking into the office.
I don't know how he's going to set that up, but it's on the table.
Yeah, so thanks for watching. You've paid for that. Right, let's move on to today's ad finally. And it's from Adam Wilborn on Twitter. What an absolute legend this guy is. He did a very scientific vote, you may remember yesterday, Andy. We were talking about Via coming. And I said, when Via finally comes on the Raw after WrestleMania, what's it going to be like? Brock Lesnar or the Funkasaurus were the options. Would you care to guess how this vote's gone?
Funkasaurus must have mopped the floor with Veer's spunk. I don't know.
85% of people out of nearly 1,500 votes have gone Funkasaurus.
Wow.
So yeah, somebody call Veer's mama, I suppose.
Yeah, he's going to have a comedy gimmick by the Christmas at least.
Or they're going to do the Emelina. A lot of people saying that in the comments. It's going to be
Turn up and go,
Veer's here. Oh, his top's fallen off. It's like, what was her name? Who they brought back? Eva Marie.
Eva Marie.
And he can't wrestle. Or yeah, they'll just come out and go, I'll do this 7. Get a look at me and all this crap that I ain't going to be wearing no more. So yeah, best of luck to Veer. I'm very excited to be there when Simon Miller sees Veer come.
Yep.
There's a medal in it.
Rather you than me.
All right, let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. We're going to be sitting down to talk about expectations versus reality for WrestleMania later on today. We're reviewing NXT. And looking ahead to AEW Dynamite a little bit later on. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions and videos of your dogs on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there, follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray
at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Higgledy Piggledy. You know the thing where it's like a mess?
Oh, it is.
They are. That's the.
It's like this news every single day.
Higgle Piggle.
Indeed.
Is that
Iggle
like,
Piggle.
Iggle Piggle. That doesn't start with a H.
Yeah.
Bollocks.
Follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. But for now, my thanks, Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.